We're live.
Nice.
We're live.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Wyoming County IDA Board meeting for Thursday, November 10th, 2022. We do have a quorum. I think every member other than the president is here, Judge Dad. Moving on to the administrative part of the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from September 8th?
So moved.
Second. Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes, September 8th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, review the financial reports for September and October. Robin?
Okay, so for September, the first page here, we had cash on hand of $946,282, invested fund balance of $1,643,974. We had a little bit of bank interest. We had expenses, or lease expense, some legal fees, and our typical, office, cellular, telephone, postage expenses. And we ended up the month with $910,910 in cash. Ooh, that's a number to play. And invested funds of $1,643,974. And then if you flip over to the next one, not the budget one there, but because we'll discuss that for October, so it's going over September, just already passed. But for October, so we started out the month with what we had the balance of September. We brought in some bank interest. We had expenses, conference and training with some. We had marketing expense, and the rest of it are typical office expenses. We ended up the month with $877,720 cash on hand, and $1,644,503 invested funds. We can flip over, there's our budget. And for the most part, we're, meeting or below budget on most items, so there isn't anything that's, going over or a problem at this point. Any questions?
Okay. Any questions on the financial report? Someone like to make a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the financial report for the IDA for September and October. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Complete the annual board evaluation. We did that, right, Jim?
That's correct.
Action items. Jim?
Yeah, in your board packet, there's a email request from Mike Beckner related to the Sun East Highview solar power project that the board already approved. Their sales tax exemption was slated to run out. And one of the challenges that he has mentioned in his email is trying to get the panels is extremely difficult. So they're thinking they probably will close on this project in May. So he's asking for a 1-year extension of the sales tax. They expired actually at the end of August, but he thinks that we could do it for a year, that he should be able to have things wrapped up by then.
What's the amount? You know the sales tax amount?
On the back side,
On the back?
that's the
That's
second one.
different. That's-
Oh, that's,
No, we don't know the amount of the sales tax exemption.
oh,
in the project.
I don't have the total that was here.
We'll get that number.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Just curious.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to.
move that. Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the sales tax exemption for a year for Sun East Highview Solar in cast dial. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Yeah.
Next up is the Alley Cat Wind project, and that also is a sales tax exemption extension. We had a conversation with council prior to this meeting about renewing this, maybe with a contingency, since council is owed a significant amount of money of work that they did when the board approved this project, and they have not paid their bill with that. So maybe the board might want to consider approving this contingent upon making the council whole on what's owed them.
Has anybody talked to Marguerite Wells?
Not about this. She doesn't know, I don't think, that the bill has not been paid because that's not her job. She's just out there trying to make projects happen, so.
Sure.
Are there other receivables out there?
There are all these solar projects, with the exception of this Sun East, are in arrears on payments to council.
And that's not unusual, but because we generally don't collect until closing. But some of the complexities of these transactions means that it can be literally years before we're covered. And, when I spoke with Jim about this previously, we had discussions with Alley Cat's council about doing this, and it kind of went dark. So, I can't speak for the company, but I do know that council was aware of this request and it asked us to provide an invoice maybe 6 months ago, which we did. So it just hasn't been paid. Otherwise, that would be pretty typical for us not, to wait till closing. So,
What are we looking at in arrears, Jim?
it's almost $9,000.
They didn't even, Alley Cat got approved before we had a policy about renewable energies where we asked for 20% of our fees up front. And so this one got in ahead of time. So they actually haven't paid us anything either at the
Right.
IDA
Mhm.
because they got in before we made that policy.
This is an arcade.
This is arcades.
Yeah, I can make a call.
Well, if you guys just want to boot it to next month, that's not any harm either.
Let me check it out.
Thank you.
All right, so, you want a motion to
Table.
delay this for a month?
That'd be fine.
That'd be
I'll
great.
move that.
Motion made, seconded to delay the request by Invenergy for the Alley Cat project. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I would think that 9,000 would pale to what they'd be paying in sales tax.
I mean, if we're gonna make the call, Doug, we did that Java energy storage project as well, that battery storage project.
Yeah.
The council had significant fees on that as well, which was gonna be built by Invenergy, and they didn't get a nickel out of that either. That one's closer to 20,000.
Well, I hate to embarrass the guy, but they come to every town board meeting, and our board meeting is next Monday night, so I think what I'll do is call Marguerite and say, unless you want a little show time at our board meeting.
Better make some things right.
Well, this is what it is, we're dealing with public here, it's not a,
They're saving a lot of money.
as Eric Dad used to say, it's not a game show. Okay, I'll make a call to Marguerite, I won't put him on the spot first, but we'll go from there.
Perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
well. Okay, Jim?
Yeah, the executive directors were, just a quick updates on a couple things. The Arcade Hotel project has, the site plan's been submitted to the planning board in Arcade. Hooray! So that project is moving forward. It's gonna be 77 rooms. It's gonna be a Holiday Inn Express and it will have a pool. So if you're looking for some place to have your grandkids go swimming in the middle of winter, you'll have a pool there. A lot of work yet to go on that. They haven't come in for an IDA application yet, of course, so we don't have the land purchase agreement signed or anything. These are all things that are going to be worked on. But
Where's this, is this gonna be down by AutoZone, or is this gonna be up on?
this is going to be directly behind Pioneer Credit Recovery.
Okay.
I worked on a deal. They wanted road frontage signage, so
Yeah, I remember that.
we got permission to have a sign put out there with the Utz tire, and then we have a grant, $60,000 of national fuel grant that we wrote to extend the gas line down there. All those things I had to work to make sure they were all still in play, and they are. So I think we got everything on our end covered, and so everything's moving forward finally. I'm also working with a metal fabricating business in Arcade on a new expansion project. This board approved one 10 years ago for the company. They continue to grow. It's Maple Grove, and they may be looking for some more help from the IDA on this, on their expansion project. There's also an ag business in Java that I've been working with on an expansion project. They're currently putting together their costs for the project. Working with Advanced Rubber down here in Wyoming. They need to buy a piece of equipment at about $500,000. It will result in 10 new jobs. So we're hooking them up with hopefully some state grant dollars to make that happen. TTI and Perry is still working on their expansion projects to build on Adrian Road. They're now thinking about building in phases because of the high cost of construction materials. They may just bring the office portion to the property first and then do the manufacturing portion second. So we'll see where they go on that. The powdered milk guy, Tom, that we talked about at length, they've gone really kind of quiet on me. So I don't know where that's going. They were planning on coming here for a site visit, and I haven't heard a peep out of them. So, and then there, excuse me, in Perry, that online business that was interested in our property over there in Perry on the corner of Camp and Route 39. They said that they were going to be all tied up till the fall until the park closed and all that before they came back to the table. Meanwhile, the board asked me to do a new appraisal on the property. I did, and it came back at $85,000, which is an increase of 10 grand since the 2008 appraisal. So that would be considered the fair market value. And then the last thing is I'm continuing to work with TPI over in Arcade on a $16 million expansion project. The problem with these expansion projects is the feds keep raising up the rates all the time, and money's getting more expensive, and so they just kind of put these projects up on the shelf and they don't work on them. So, anyways, that's my report.
Jim, I don't know if you're aware, well, there's two things in Arcade that one hardest Perry is Pioneer Credit.
It's a tough thing. They have the building in Arcade listed for sale.
Well, we're
I have had several conversations with the broker, gave him several ideas on maybe repurposing it or reuse it. I think it should be kind of a multi-tenant facility because we have a real demand for manufacturing space. It's all zoned correctly. So I've asked the broker if he would ask the company if they would donate it to either the IDA or one of our local development corporations. The broker thought that was a wonderful idea. I touched base with Kevin a little bit about it. The broker was going to talk to the sellers to see if they would consider that. So I'm trying to make a run for it.
very good. So they're done.
They've kind of migrated a few jobs into those two outlying buildings in Arcade. One where the conference center used to be.
A couple of weeks ago, there was the Women in Business annual section in the Arcade paper. And they had an ad, we're going nowhere, we're here. I don't know if you have to see it or not.
Yeah, I did.
And the next thing I hear is it's done, so.
But the challenge with Pioneer Credit, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school, even though we're on camera, but when you deferred loan payments for 2.5 years, you don't have any debt to collect.
Yeah.
And
And then what's ahead possibly too
Yeah.
with the forgiveness.
And that was the primary, that was the biggest paper they had to work on collecting was student debt.
Okay, the other thing is Dave Bray owns the house north of Wanda Electronics, whatever, Krog's property there.
Yeah.
Does Krog own all of that
Krog
property that
owns,
the IDA owned at one time?
Krog owns, besides the building that's out front there, 3 acres behind that.
Okay, does it go around?
It's kind of, it borders that town road, which was made to town spec.
Yep.
So it's there. I think Paul Dizik was farming it.
Yeah, somebody is, I don't know.
And Krog is willing to build a suit if somebody wants to build there.
Yeah. Well, Dave Bray's wife is starting a business, or Scott, I don't know if you're aware of it, kind of like Hoffy's is down at Main Street across from the school. Embroidery and trophy.
She went through our fast track program. She's very
And
sharp.
they're building a new building, and he had asked me, he said, is there any regulation about starting a business in Arcade? And if you meet all the zoning, then it's zoned, so no problem, you know. And then he asked me about that property out back, he's mowing it, that's where his lot of, and, you know, he's interested in buying it, but I said, I'll ask him to see what the,
Yeah, Bob, Peter Krog still owns that.
okay, so we own nothing out there, the idea.
No.
Okay, good enough. All right, that it?
That's it for me.
Anything else? Someone like to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. See you December 8th. Hopefully the judge is recovered by then.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Isn't it fun to give away money?
Good car, yeah.
Especially when it's summer. Good for you.
How long does it take for those funds to come back and those micro enterprise grants?
What is the turnaround on those, Robin?